Hello everybody, Joe here, and happy Thursday. So today's video is a Thoughtful Thursday, which is a collab hosted by my sweet friend Joy at Organized with Joy. So each of us sharing our thoughts on a topic. So get your coffee. Whatever you want to drink, eat, and let's chat. So, if you saw my Monday video where I talked about minimalism and how minimalism is more, one of the things I touched on and mentioned was how in the beginning, when you go minimal, or when you're decluttering, well, even just with decluttering, you're not going to be going minimal, but with decluttering, one big thing is you want to have your why. Why you want to be simple, why you want to be minimal, why you want to declutter. Because having that why, knowing your reason, makes it like it's more likely to stick, you're more likely to continue and to be intentional and all these things. Now, decluttering, whether you're minimal or simple living or not, is always a good idea. And if you try simple living, if you try minimalism and it's not for you, that is also okay. But it just really, really helped me, and I like to share and talk about it. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about that it doesn't seem to get talked about much is letting go of stuff, decluttering, if there are things that you haven't wanted to face, haven't wanted to deal with, emotionally, mentally, physically, going simple and decluttering, or even just decluttering something you've been holding on to that just makes you upset every time you see it. It forces you to deal with all the emotional, physical, and mental stuff that you've been hiding from, not dealing with, whether that's by owning a lot of stuff, constantly being busy all the time, through food, whatever it is. And because when you go simple, other habits you tend to want to change. Other things you tend to want to make better. So when you start decluttering and decide to go simple and you figure out your why, it forces you to deal with all those things you had been putting off. So I went minimal back in 2016, and if you're new here and you don't know, or if you haven't watched my videos where I've talked about it, basically due to life circumstances, I had to declutter like 90% of my stuff, 80-90% of my stuff in like a 2-day in 2 days. It was long overdue. But basically, life circumstances changed, and all my stuff, there was no way it was going to fit into the space I was living in at the time, had moved into. So all my stuff had to be decluttered. So I didn't go into it with the thought of going minimal or going simple. It just kind of turned out that way. But what happened with that was now all of a sudden I didn't have all my stuff to worry about. I didn't have all that stuff to take care of. I mean, before I went minimal, I would say I was a pack rat. I had a lot of stuff. I mean, I was always very organized and everything, so it never seemed like a lot, but it was a lot. And so once I went minimal, and I'm like, and I, had my reason why, because I, disabled, and I wanted to be independent in as many areas as I could, and having less stuff and having things easier to manage and being more intentional was a way to have some independence, and that's what I wanted. So, but because of that, and because I let go of stuff I had been holding on to for years, like many, I had used stuff as a distraction, as a way to not deal with emotions and things I didn't want to deal with. I mean, I used other things too, and I had other ways of coping that not necessarily healthy ways, and decluttering and going simple, I suddenly no longer had that distraction, and it forced me to come face to face with trauma and emotions. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, that first year of minimalism was really hard. It was one of the best, and one of the best things and one of the hardest things ever. Because in that year, I started, paying more attention to my body and eating better and all these things that for a while I was just not doing the best at, and for different reasons, and reasons we're not going to go into on this video, because that's not what this is about. But I just wanted to mention this, that when you declutter, when you simplify, when you decide to be intentional for whatever reason it is, even if you declutter something, just know that freeing up space physically frees up space mentally and emotionally, and it forces you to deal with things that you thought you had dealt with or that you weren't dealing with. And it can be hard. It was hard. And after that initial declutter, there were some things I held on to that during that first year, I ended up decluttering. Things I didn't think I would ever get rid of. Things I thought I would for sure want to hold on to. But in the end, I ended up decluttering even more. And I also ended up getting a couple things. So it's kind of like it wasn't necessarily one in, one out. It was like a one in, a couple things out type of situation. But it was just... And then, since my, August will be 8 years of minimalism. In almost my 8 years of minimalism, throughout those years, there are things that I held on to in the beginning or got, I've got stuff and decluttered stuff and got stuff and decluttered stuff since. Because when you go minimal, when you go simple, it doesn't mean you stop shopping. It just means you're more intentional about it. And since then, I've decluttered stuff that I wasn't ready to let go of, or whatever, that held a lot of emotional and mental weight, and I let go of those things. And it was for the better. It was so good, and I'm glad I did. So that's going to be the end of my Thoughtful Thursday. I hope you enjoyed this. I will have my friend Joy, our host, I will have her channel as well as the playlist linked in my description box below. Have a good Thursday. Have a good weekend, everybody. And I should be back tomorrow for 10 Minutes Better.